Most of these people have never done business in their life. They've been working in the US, in the UK for all their life. They've been
Oh,
employees.
say that again. That is so important. Say that one more time.
Yeah.
What's good, Kenganda? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again, here with a very special episode. I want you guys to go ahead and like, subscribe at the channel. But I am here with one of the best African finance channels, PhD candidate, is a very, very educated in understanding the African market, understanding a lot of the opportunities, and especially in Kenya, and in investing opportunities that a lot of us in the diaspora don't know about. I'll let him introduce himself and what his channel is about. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you so much, O'Shea. Once again, back to this channel. I'm so grateful for being here today. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have this session today. So it's a wonderful day. People are investing. Last time we had the session, I had a lot of calls. People are coming to me and asking me, hey, how can I do this? And for me, that's a great impact. That's a great income. That's a great outcome. I mean, I always say that if I get result from one person, for me, that's a great thing already. I just need one person to know what to do. I just need one person to be educated enough and be informed enough to make the right choices with regards to money and investing. So I am glad to be back here. I'm Ken of Ken's Money Matters YouTube. Please go and subscribe to Ken's Money Matters YouTube. We talk about investing. We talk about so many things there. We talk about managing money. We talk about money mindset. We talk about how to enjoy your money, how to invest the money, how to assure yourself of a lifetime of income, basically financial freedom. So we do everything. It's from the money mindset, because the mindset informs the behavior. The behavior informs how much you can actually make. That much that you can make informs how much you can actually invest. And the much you can invest informs the kind of life and the kind of freedom that you can then have. So there are so many opportunities to invest in Africa. There are so many opportunities to invest in Kenya. And that's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so we've done a few episodes about, number one, I believe, why Africa, people in the diaspora are so broke. We also talked about the power of investing in African bonds, and you talked about Kenya in particular for that, and that's something that many of us didn't know about. But one of the biggest topics that are around the internet is this whole idea of repatriation, or moving back to one's country. So, like, you're a Kenyan. I know currently you're studying in the UK. I'm an African American, and I'm a little bit different because I don't have a tie to a country. So you have these different groups. You have Kenyans abroad, Nigerians abroad, looking to come back home. And then you have people who are from Jamaica or from Trinidad, and they want to go back to the homeland of their ancestors. But there's no real way to do it. And one thing that prohibits one or makes one successful is understanding the investments and how to save money and prepare for the repatriation journey. And that's what we're talking about today, because you kind of figured out how we should approach it, because we have people coming to Africa with like $3,000, coming with $5,000, and that money runs out fast, right? What's the best way, in your opinion, as a economist and a person that is in finance? How do you approach this if you want to come back to the continent?
Thank you so much, O'Shea. So it's a very interesting question for me, because this is something I get all the time from most people who want to go back to Africa. And just to inform the listeners, I'm going to start doing lots of videos and on my channel too, with feedback and encouragement from O'Shea, focusing on this kind of topics too, because I have a section called the Diaspora section. So most of the time, I would say that before you even think of repatriation, before you think of going back to Africa and the investment opportunities and the business opportunities, I want to put people on a realistic mindset. I want people to be having the right mindset before you even start this process, because people begin this process with the wrong mindset. People begin this process with fear. People begin this process with a lot of stereotypes that they have heard from the media, that they have heard from all over the place. You know, people have been telling them things about Africa. Some people, like you said yourself, for example, you don't have any real attachment or any live attachment to Africa right now, and therefore you rely on what the media is telling you. You rely on what people are telling you. You rely on what YouTubers are telling you. But sometimes they could give you the wrong picture based on what you're searching for. there's something called a filter bubble or an air bubble. When you live in an air bubble, it means that you're looking at the world from that perspective, from your own perspective, which you have been modeled and nurtured through, right? So a lot of people are looking at Africa and the businesses and the opportunities through that filter bubble or through that air bubble, whereby they're only thinking of it in terms of what was I told about Africa? What was I taught about Africa? What has the media told me about Africa? So before we even think of how do we start moving back to Africa, how do we repatriate, which country do I go to? Think about the approach you're having in terms of mindset. Talk to someone. Think about your attitude towards the continent. Think about who has nurtured your mindset, your picture of the continent. Because the moment you go to the continent with the wrong mindset, the moment you enter the continent with the preconceived ideas about the continent, your failure is already manufactured. So you are sure you're going to get into the continent and you're going to fail because you know what? You already have preconceived ideas. And these are the things people don't talk about. We talk about in technical stuff like business, like investing opportunities, like bonds. But we're not telling the person that before you enter the continent, make sure you have the right mindset. Make sure you know that this is an open place. Come with an open mindset. Be able to do anything for you to thrive in this environment. That's one. The second thing is that when we think of repatriation, we should not make this decision in a sentimental way. A lot of us are making the decision of repatriating back to Africa with sentimental attachments. So someone like O'Shea, yourself, you could say, oh, I want to go back to Africa, but I'm going back to Uganda because of 1, 2, 3. So there could be some ancestor that you had came from Uganda, or some friend of yours went to Uganda and succeeded, or O'Shea has gone to Uganda and made money. So therefore, I'm thinking this is the place I should go to. That is a wrong premise. That's a wrong foundation of going back to Africa. You have to think of it in a completely different way. You have to start thinking, okay, I want to go back to Africa. I don't have any live attachment there, but how am I going to make the decision to repatriate back to Africa? Is my decision going to be emotional and sentimental, or is my decision going to be informed by what I actually want to go and achieve in Africa? So your decision should always be informed by what you want to go and achieve, because there are so many countries in Africa. I don't want Black people thinking of Africa like one country, like white people think of it, right?
Right.
Yeah, Africa has different countries, and all these countries are huge states with different opportunities, different resources, different growth prospects, different populations, different needs, different progress in terms of infrastructure, economics, and political systems. Okay, so I don't want someone coming to Africa like it's one state whereby everything is the same. Or I don't want someone coming to Africa with the mindset of, you know what, oh, my ancestor came from Uganda, therefore this is the way I want to go and make money. No, make a decision based on what is the market availability, what do I want to do? Do I want to get into telecommunications, infrastructure? Do I want to get into financial services? Do I want to get into education sector? Do I want to get into health sector? What do I want to do? And which country best supports what I want to do? Which country best supports what I want to achieve? So if I want to get into bonds, for example, which country has the best bond rates, and which country has the best rates, and not just rates, but in terms of credibility of the bonds? Because if you want to invest in government bonds, you want a stable economy, you want a stable political system. You understand? So it depends on what you want to do. But if you want to deal in things like, let's say, guns, which I wouldn't tell somebody to deal in, then you want to go to somewhere where those things can actually sell. You understand? Right? I'm just giving an example, you know. Think of the environment before you make a decision. Don't make an emotional, sentimental decision when coming back to Africa. Now, when you come to Africa, of course, when you start now repatriating to Africa, the idea that because you have been told that Africa is poor and therefore your $100,000 will go a long way in Africa is an outdated idea. It's an outdated idea. Let's stop living in the West and always translating our money in the local currency and thinking of how rich we are. That is how you set yourself up for failure. Don't have $100,000, $50,000 and think that now you're so rich when you get back to Africa. That is a way you set yourself up for failure. You know why? Because those economies, you do not understand how they work. You do not understand the growth of those economies. You don't understand the inflation rates in those economies, which are sometimes much higher. You don't understand how fast you can spend the money, how liquid the economy is. You don't understand the nitty-gritties of the economy. So however much you may think that, yes, I have my 50,000, if I go back to Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, or wherever, I'm rich. In this sense, yes, you will be rich, but the rate of spending and the liquidity of the economy and so many other factors within the country would affect how much you spend. So for example, you could go to a country like, let's say, Congo. You want to live in an area that probably is very safe, right? So you're going to live in a rich area in Congo. And don't let nobody lie to you that a rich area in Congo is not going to be as expensive as a house in the US.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So you
That's a
come
great
there
point.
thinking, okay, I am going to live well. I'm going to live a good life in Africa. You come with the mindset of, you know what, Africa people are poor. Therefore, with my 50,000, 100,000, I'm good to go. You are lying to yourself because you get there immediately and you are hit with the reality that, you know what, if you want to live the kind of life you actually want, you actually need money.
Let me ask you this, because you make up a good point, because a lot of people, I see people going to the Gambia or Tanzania, and they're translating, and they've never lived in Africa, so they're translating. I have $100,000 into like Kenyan shillings and Tanzanian shillings, and somebody is telling them maybe there, oh, that's a lot of money, but that person that's living in that country might not be living an American style life.
Yeah,
and you're used to the microwaves. You're used to Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Yeah. And what I found out, like even I was in Uganda, you look for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, which the game was in Uganda. It's like $10. It's way more expensive than in the USA. But you don't want the local brand stuff. You want the stuff that is more expensive. So what happens is you find yourself, especially if you live in certain parts of, let's say, Nigeria, Banana Island, Lagos Island.
Yeah.
$2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, right? If you live in Akila Leshwa, Karen in Kenya, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. So it adds up. But let me also talk about this, because you mentioned something that was very important. Pick a country instead of being sentimentally, tied to it. Some people like the Gambia because it's cheap. But you mentioned, what is the infrastructure going on? How fast does it start to take to get a business? What are the industries there that you can help in? And does the country have infrastructure? Let me ask you, in your opinion, the countries that you know of, instead of being sentimentally tied, that you see that have good bonds. I know Zambia defaulted on its bonds recently, but what are the countries that you see that are good, that are stable, that countries that people from the diaspora can come to and have good success in the investing that you know of?
Thank you. So, of course, there are many countries in Africa that are very stable. And like I said, there are different parameters to actually measure these things. If you look at for example, the reports that have been done by organizations like the UN and stuff, which I rarely refer to them because they are never very objective, according to me, you see that we have a burgeoning population of young people. Number one, we are one of the fastest growing continents in the world. We provide a huge market and a huge labor for the world right now. The industries in Kenya are in Africa are some of the fastest growing in the world. Looking by the growth index that was released recently, Africa is the fastest growing in terms of the telecommunication industry, financial services industry, and infrastructure. So compared to Asia, Europe, and any other part of the world, Africa is the fastest growing. That tells you there are opportunities and there are places you can definitely invest. But like I said, you want to look at where are you investing, which are the countries that you think you would succeed in. One of the countries I would say is Kenya, my country for sure. I'm going to start from home. Is that Kenya has one of the best and the fastest growing infrastructures right now. We are not talking about the dual highways. We're talking about the international airport levels. We're talking about right now, Kenya Airways is trying to have very, very active international presence based on different alliances with other airlines like the Sky Team. We're talking about some of the best innovations in Kenya right now in terms of telecommunication services, financial services. So basically, if you look at Kenya right now, everything is basically ballooning. Everything is basically growing. The banking sector is doing amazing. The financial services sector is doing amazing. The infrastructure is doing amazing. So this is one country that could actually come into. Kenya has never defaulted on its bonds, and it has one of the highest rates in terms of bonds rating. It has one of the highest interests in terms of returns on your investment in bonds. If you look at bills, Kenya is doing well. If you look at the money market funds in Kenya, that's some of the best money market funds you can find in the world. So yes, in that sector, I can tell you, yes, Kenya is growing quite well, and you can definitely find some money, depending on what you want to invest to. If you go to the stock market, the Nairobi Stock Exchange, for example, one of the best. And then when you leave Kenya, you go to another country, Ghana, one of the most politically stable countries in Africa.
Right.
Yeah, so you want to go to Ghana, you want to invest in bonds in Ghana, very stable, highly rated, very good returns too. You want to get into business in Ghana. It's the easiest way, in the easiest process to get into business in places like Ghana. So you want to look at those kind of things. And Ghana is also doing very well in terms of infrastructure. Ghana is doing very well in terms of supporting the diasporas who are repatriating back to the country to try and survive, because you also need that government support. You need those friendly policies. You need people to actually recognize the importance of returning diasporans. So you go to Ghana, for example. Then someone who wants to get into proper infrastructure, try to develop infrastructure, get into Nigeria. You want to get into the oil business, you want to get into the agri business. Nigeria is doing amazing right now. You want to get into real estate. Nigeria is doing an amazing job in real estate right now. The opportunities for real estate in Nigeria is amazing. The population is growing. People need houses, and they have made the environment very supportive of people who get into real estate. There's so many people doing that right now in Nigeria because of the infrastructure that's growing. And then, of course, I talked about the agri-business in Nigeria, one of the biggest, with a good population, a good market. You don't even need to get out of the country to get a market for it. Then you want to go to, if you want a cheap place, like you said earlier, you go to a place like Gambia. Gambia, after the ouster of the former president, Gambia has been very stable so far. And they're now focused on developing policies, developing infrastructure, and doing things to support. People are returning back to the country to support their growth. It's a small country, so if you want a country that is starting small, if you want a country that is still nascent, at the nascent stages, if you want a country that is still has a lot of potential, free market for you with very cheap stuff and cheap labor, for example, depending on the business you're doing, you want to go to Gambia, And we have Tanzania next to Kenya. One of the best economies, has been very stable.
Great.
Yeah, it's doing great right now. It's opening, the infrastructure is opening quite well. The bonds in Tanzania are amazing, have never defaulted, very good rates, some of the highest actually in Africa. Again, Tanzania in terms of bonds. So you want to get to Tanzania. The business environment in Tanzania has been very good after Magufuli. You know what happened. The business environment is opening up right now. People are getting in there.
Still good.
Yeah, still really good.
The country just continued on like it was like clockwork.
It continued on. It just caught on. Country. That's why we must have a country and structures that are bigger than personalities, than individuals. We must have countries that can run on their own. And that's why I'm saying you have to look at the kind of country you're going to. So the political system, for example, in Tanzania is much cooler than political system in Kenya. If you're someone who's afraid of issues during elections and stuff, you want to go to Tanzania. If you're someone who wants a controlled environment, you want to go to Uganda. Uganda is a very controlled business environment. So probably you want that because of the nature of business that you're doing. So you want an environment that is very policy oriented, that is very well controlled, very well structured. Go to Uganda. Uganda is still a growing country. The control can be a bad thing politically, but can be a good thing for some businesses in terms of foreign investments. So you decide on where you want to go. There are so many countries, so many. I've just mentioned a few of them.
You made some really strong points, because a lot of people are not looking. Well, this place is cheap, but you're not looking at the infrastructure, the internet connectivity. You want to be a consultant. But I want to talk to you about this, because a lot of people message us on at gmail.com. They message us on Instagram. And they say, well, listen, like I'm doing this career in this country, but if I come to Uganda or I come to Kenya or Nigeria, I see that there's opportunities in the agribusiness supply chain. And what am I going to do when I get there so that my money doesn't run out? So I know that farming is something that you see people getting into. When we do like pig farming videos or goat farming videos on the channel, views are going crazy. People are interested in understanding that. So some people are coming back and trying to get into, let's say, the agribusiness, which is very, very popular right now. How would you, advise people who they're working in London, they're working in the United States, but they're transitioning into the next business phase as they're coming from abroad and trying to get that business set up before they actually move back further? Would you recommend that, okay, you save all your money first, then you move back and start the business? Or do you try to do it piece by piece? You try to set something up, let the project build, go back and work, come back and check on it, go back and work, and let it develop, and then move back? What strategy do you kind of advise? Because I did the second one, right? Like I have my project and I'm leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back as it develops. What do you suggest?
Okay. Good question. So it depends. I would say it depends for sure. That's why I was saying you have to know what kind of business you want to do. Now, let me mention here for sure that the fact that Africa is a developing lots of young people trying to get opportunities also makes it a right place for people to be conned. It makes it a very right place for people to lose money. And a lot of people have lost money, and that's why they hate it. But it's because of the approach. Like I mentioned earlier, how you approach it matters. So if I want to go for, let's give an example. I want to go and do a business in Africa that involves probably cash flow, like farming, agribusiness. So people will be coming to my farm probably to buy stuff. So I will need to be supplying different people with different stuff from my farm. That means there's cash flow. I need to have cash flow in the farm all the time. Somebody is taking care of the cash. I'm in the US or I'm in the UK or I'm somewhere else. This money cannot get to you as it is. That's because of the nature of our countries right now, because people are fighting for opportunities despite what happens, whether they go over the values. And I always mentioned in my videos that we've lost some moral fabrics because of the capitalistic system. So people do not have certain moral fabrics, certain values that can help them take care of someone else's business, take care of someone else's money in an honest way. So that's something you have to consider. So I always tell people, don't have a business in Africa if you're not going to stay there that has constant cash flow in it and expect that things will run as normal. Many people have tried it, many people have failed. I always advise, don't do it. If you have a business that you can run and monitor from wherever you are, and cash flow doesn't have to go through someone else's hands, do it. Okay, so for example, if it is a business like, let's say YouTube or content creation, whereby I can monitor my YouTube channel from here, I can see how much YouTube has paid me, and then I do the payment to people who have been supporting me. I can do that because it doesn't in any way affect, there's no cash flow involved. But the moment there's cash flow involved, that requires a proper process of me remitting that cash back to the person who is the owner of the business, it's not going to work. I'm telling you outright. Try it with family, try it with whoever, it won't work. Okay, it can work for a period of time, but at some point it will fail because there is no clear structure of how that money should flow to you, and these people in the middle will want their cut. It's just how the business works. You know, in an unstructured environment, we have to accept that in an unstructured environment where there are so many opportunities and so much, it's like a gambling environment to some level. Everyone wants a piece. And when they're taking that piece, they do not care about how they affect the person forming the business. Again, sometimes people don't see the dream you have. You must understand that fact. You may have a dream of where you're going to, of a business you want and what you want to achieve, but I may not be able to see your dream. I may not be able to recognize that dream. So therefore, I may be able to interfere with your money and your cash flow, thinking you have enough, while in real sense, I'm really messing up with your dream. So people may not see your dream like you do. So make sure that people who are always working for you get to see your dream, but don't get them involved in money and cash flow business. That's the number one. The second way to go about it, what do I recommend in terms of going about it? So I said it depends on the kind of business. And if it involves cash flow, don't do it. Have your money, go there and start that business. But one thing I always tell people again, before you go there and start that business with all your money, don't go with all your money. Reach a certain financial goal first, whereby you have some money for business and some money whereby you can survive on if things don't go your way. Because business in any part of the world, you are not guaranteed of its success. That's one. And a problem with people who are coming back with this business idea is most of these people have never done business in their life. They've been working in the US, in the UK for all their life.
Say that again. That is so important. Say that one more time.
Yeah. So most of these people are employees. These people have been working for other people for all their life. For 40, 50 years, you've been working for someone. Then all of a sudden, you want to come with $100,000 or $200,000 to Africa to start a new business and expect that this will succeed. And then when it fails, you want to blame the continent. Don't blame the continent. Blame yourself. You've never done a business in your life. You don't even know the nature of a business. And now to top it up, you want to do a business in a new continent, in a new environment, in a new setting, and expect immediate results and good results. It is unrealistic and illogical. And that's why most people come back and fail. And then they start blaming the continent and the structures and the policies and the politics and stuff like that. In real sense, it could just be that you are not well prepared or you are not a business person. How do I know if I'm a business person if I've been working my whole life? How do I know I'm a business person? So we must understand that when you're coming to Africa with that mind to start that business, you must have done some business somewhere and succeeded. But if you're coming to start afresh, you must also understand that you are starting afresh and therefore failure is an option. Failure can happen and you do not have to blame it on anyone else. So once again, I go back and say, it depends on the nature of the business. If it involves cash flow, be there. If it doesn't involve cash flow, therefore you can control it. Things like bonds, stocks, bills, money market funds, certificates of deposits, real estate that you can go and build and finish and go back to America and continue working as you get your money. These are things that can be paid straight into your account. You simply just need someone to take care of the house while your money is paid straight into your account, right? These are things you can control from wherever you are. But if you're talking about business like farming chicken and stuff like that, forget about it. Go take your money if you want to try it and go settle properly in Africa and try it. But as you settle there, remember, you must have emergency fund. You must have money that can sustain you in case the business doesn't go well. Even jobs end, even businesses end. So we must always have that in mind. Don't come to Africa thinking that, okay, now I'm doing Africa a favor by going, and therefore I think that everything should now go my way. Most people come with that demeaning mindset. They come with that mindset of they're saviors of Africa. They're saviors of the continent. We are trying to develop the continent, and therefore everything must go my way. That's not how it's gonna work. Not everything will go your way, and you're not saving anyone. It's just us coming together to build our continent. And there's no savior mentality here. That savior mentality is with the white people, where they want to come and save us, which is a terrible mentality that has put us where we are right now. So what we are saying is, when you come into Africa, come knowing that just as businesses fail in the US, just as businesses fail in the UK, a business can fail in Africa. And don't pin it down on the continent, pin it down on the factors around the business.
Very, very well said. Ken, you're always doing an excellent job. For those people who want to know more about your channel, kind of tell them what you do there and why they should subscribe to your channel.
Cool. So thank you so much once again for the opportunity. I'm always glad to be here and to come and talk to people about, moving back to Africa, doing business, investing in Africa, and, making money in Africa and developing our own continent. Economic freedom is the highest level of freedom you can ever have. When you control the economy, when you control your own money, you can control everything else. You can control the politics of the world. You can control the view of the world. You can control the inflow of ideas and stuff, into your continent. So we need to be very serious about doing business in Africa. We need to be very serious about investing in Africa without preconceived ideas, without bad mindsets. Anyways, I'm Ken's Money Matters. Like I said, you can find me on my Ken's Money Matters YouTube. I also have a website if you want to know about coaching. I do coaching on finance and investments. I'm a coach on finance and investment issues. So feel free to come and ask me all those questions you want to ask me. Go to my website, www.kensmoneymatters.com, and you'll find more information about coaching services on there and investment coaching services too. So feel free to find me there. And as always, a pleasure to be here. Subscribe to Ken's Money Matters. Subscribe to this channel, to O'Shea. Let's support each other and grow together, guys. Thank you.
All right, and guys, I'll put we'll put the website in the video also in the first comment in the top. And again, very practical information. And I've done most of the things that he said, and I believe that's the practical thing. Know what you're going to do and be strategic in how to approach it, getting information, in doing it. I think it was a brilliant collaboration today. And guys, keep it real, Kenganda forever. We're out.